So we've eliminated most of our choices and we've come down to the Pore Blur Primer and my paddle brush, haven't we? And what I'll do first of all, beautiful ones, is start this bit again because, yeah. Dime qué es lo que esperas. Dime qué quieres ver. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Joseph. It's really lovely to meet you. Now then, beautiful ones, in today's video we're going to be having a close look. We have reviewed this before, granted, but we're going to be having a very close look at the Maybelline Anti-Age Eraser. This is a multi-use concealer, although I watched a video, an advert on television yesterday, and I think it's because it's coming up to Christmas. Every man and their dog's trying to flog their goods or their wares out, including Maybelline New York. This intro won't be too long, I promise you. I won't keep waffling. I'll get to the point soon, I promise. Yeah, so, and in the advert, beautiful ones, the claim that they make towards the end is what can't it conceal, or what can't it hide, or what can't it perfect, something like that. So I thought today we'd have a jolly good play around with this one. Probably even try and mix it. I've got a few primers here I'm going to try mixing it with. I've got the, what's this one? The Blur Stick from Revolution. I've also got the IRL Filter primer, and we've also have the Pore Blur Primer, and this is one of my favourite products. In fact, that's my Holy Grail Skin Perfector. I've got loads of Holy Grail stuff, haven't I really? I've got Holy Grail Foundation, Holy Grail Powder, Holy Grail Powder, Primer, Pick Up a Penguin. I don't actually like penguins. Does anyone like penguins? I know they're very, very popular, aren't they? But I just didn't like them as a kid. So why am I talking about chocolate biscuits as opposed to Maybelline New York? Should I drag myself? Okay, I'll do that. Sorry. I'm not sorry though, so I must stop a bit. It's going to be one of those tutorials, you can tell, can't you, beautiful ones? Before we continue, beautiful ones, I need to have a jolly good moan about Superdrug. Their website is just horrendous. It always sticks for some reason on both of my devices. I have tablets, obviously, I've got phones, and it just, scrolling down is impossible on it. At the minute I open up the Superdrug website, it just sticks and freezes on the home page, and you can't scroll up or scroll down. All you're stuck with is the image that is on the home page. So. And then, when it does start to move, they assail you with offers, and they are useful. I know that discount codes and so on and so forth. They can obviously give you quite a substantial amount of money off. However, I think that, do you know what I mean? When you can't actually see the product you're going on there to buy or to investigate or to even look at, and they're assailing you with these. It's not very good at all. So, and that's been like that for at least a year with Superdrug, and Revolution do it. They all do it to a certain degree. When I had my my cosmetic businesses, I've had 3 in the, sorry, just itching my leg. Just had a hot bath. That's got nothing to do with right. Yeah, no, I was saying was when I had my cosmetic businesses, my websites were always very clean and very, very customer focused, with obviously with a view to saving people money too. However, the aesthetics of the website I took very, very much in mind, and took the whole thing very personally, because it was my website, wasn't it? My businesses. I would never do something like that, and that's just awful. Or I won't better remove that now. So, anyone's guess what they talk about? Should we just make it up? Do you know what I mean? Should we just make up whatever we can about the Maybelline Anti-Age Eraser? Should we do that? I mean, there's nothing else we can do, beautiful ones. Unless, of course, I do the thing that normal other people would do, which is just to come out of Superdrug and actually go onto maybelline.co.uk. Should I do that? So, beautiful ones, the star of today's show is the Maybelline New York Anti-Age Eraser Concealer, and this is touted. It's Britain's #1 concealer. That's their one of the claims they make on the website, which unfortunately we can't access at the minute. I couldn't even get onto Maybelline. I don't know what's going on today. I mean, the whole world seems to be collapsing around my ears. Fairly typical for me, though. And this is in shade 07. Is it 07? Yeah, 07 Sand. And he was £9.99 for 6.8 mils, something around 7 mils. So fairly standard for a concealer. Concealers range between anywhere from 5 mils to 15 mils. If you get any more than that, and that's just a bargain, you're onto a winner there, beautiful ones. So, and in the shop, I tried this on the back of my hand because I've trained my eye to be able to spot and match my skin tone with anything that, you know, that is in the shops. Don't do that yourself though, beautiful ones. I've done a whole video on how to match foundations and concealers, and I'll link that up here or pop it into the description, or do both. So, and Sand, or shade 07, was the nearest to my old face, although it is slightly too warm for me. The next shade up was Fair or something like that, way too pale, and the next shade down was silly baked bean sort of territory. So, so this was basically the nearest match, and I think that, yeah, I think we'll have to get on with it, won't we? I'm not promising anything here, guys, because copyright probably is involved somewhere. But if I can, I'll get my hands on the advert I saw yesterday, and I'll pop it down here, or pop it somewhere just so you can hear them making all of these grandiose claims, which is what today's tutorial is all about. We're going to try and see whether this one what can't it cover, which basically implies it can cover anything, doesn't it, really? I mean, that's the impression I got from what they were saying. What can't it cover, or what can't it perfect, implies to me that it can basically cover everything and the kitchen sink. So shall I try some of this on this 50-year-old face? Why not? I thought what I'd do is on what, because it is an under eye concealer, that is its purpose in life, or its raison d'etre. Is that my bit of French? I don't know if I pronounced that right or not. It means reason for being, I'm told, but it's according to Google. So, right. And what we'll do, guys, today is we'll apply this to one side of my under eyes using a concealer brush, and the other one we'll use one of my brand new beauty sponges. So, and I got that from Superdrug, £1 for each. So, and I got 3 of those because I'm always losing them. So I thought I may as well stock up. Why not? And how you use this is very similar to its big brother, the primer, the glowy primer, the 24-hour Superstay with no, that's the wrong one, isn't it? I can't remember the name of it. It looks like that bottle, although I think it's 30 ml, so it's a lot bigger. But and what you need to do is take your cap off and see how dirty that is. I did try and clean it before this tutorial, and I'd like to keep all of my products nice and clean. But you need to twist that clockwise until the product comes through. You can see that on the top there, can't you? And beautiful ones, how I tend to apply under eye concealer is just to put some on the back of my hand, and you see how yellowy that is. I suppose it has got quite a cool sort of, there's a peachy sort of glow to that one, isn't there? Put the lid on here, otherwise that will end up everywhere. And then what I tend to do, beautiful ones, is get my concealer brush and work that into the brush, and that way you're not putting down too much product onto your face, and you can always build it up. Do you know what I mean? So let's start with, just wait for the lights to adjust because it is so bright in here. And I like to just work into the very corners of my eyes. I don't really get dark circles. I'm blessed with quite light under eyes, I suppose. And that's exactly it. That's far too much for me. I mean, I would never ever in a million years go out with this much. In fact, I don't wear concealer on a day, but I'm filming this for you beautiful ones. So, and now what I like to do with concealer is just to leave that for about 30 seconds to a minute, just because it starts, the silicones in it start to evaporate, and it leaves behind a much thicker sort of product or layer of product on the skin, and you get more coverage, basically, what I'm trying to say in my usual waffly way. But whilst that's drying, I'll use my brand new beauty blender on the other side. So, and just on the very point. So I've just seen that Jenny, my friend Jenny, the foundation lady, has uploaded a video, which I'll watch as soon as I finish with you guys. Okay, and just the same as this one, just in here. And by using a sponge to apply your concealer, you get much more natural finish. In fact, barely there finish, I would say, which is great for me because I don't like looking like a person that has loads of makeup on a person's face. So. And that was dry, by the way, beautiful ones. I didn't soak that. Perhaps we could try a little bit later on soaking it. Remind me, please, if you want to see me doing that with a soak sponge. It's too late to let me know in the comments, but now I'll go in with my ring finger and I'll just dab him in. And I'm patting, I'm not dragging at all, because the skin around the eyes is really, really fragile, beautiful ones. And by using my wedding ring finger too, I'm just basically using as little pressure as possible around the delicate old eye area. If I keep looking up, it's because again it's so bright in here, and trying to find you beautiful ones through the glare is quite difficult. So you're there, aren't you? Hello, beautiful ones. How are you all doing today? Okay. Right. So where's my brush? Here it is. What I like to now do is just why am I doing that, guys? Why have I divided my face into two using my concealer brush for no apparent reason whatsoever? I just want you to maybe that helps you to see the difference between that side, and there's a window wiper thing going on. Right, shall I start? Yeah, I'll have to start that bit again, won't I? Definitely being ridiculous today. I don't know what's wrong with me. Well, I do, but so beautiful ones. That on the right-hand side, which will appear left. You just try and remember that everything's inverted. Speaks for itself, doesn't it, really? So, yeah, with the brush, wasn't it? So all you need to do then is just to blend around your edges so there's no stark areas between your skin and the concealer, or you could use your finger to do your hair up. I'm so sorry, guys. This must be so odd that I'm not looking directly at you, until I actually find you beautiful ones, and then must look like a right knob, mustn't I? Okay, so in the advert on Maybelline advert, the shades they use match the skins perfectly. There's a black chap, there's I think there's a Chinese or an Asian lady or something like that, and he puts a bit there on a spot, disappears. There's a black lady who puts them under her eye, that disappears. Although I don't think that, do you know what I mean? I don't think that their shade range is that extensive. I think there's only something like 10 shades at the very, very most of the concealer. So what I'll do is I'll keep waffling, and I'll put some more on my using the sponge method. So I might go and soak it in a minute and just see how we can, because that's what this is all about today, isn't it, guys? And that's what my channel's basically about. It's just, well, I'm an experimental makeup artist, aren't I? So a new genre in the field or the profession of makeup artistry. So let's just put some more of this on, shall we? And because it has a point in it, you can really get into the areas, and it gives you a far more diffuse sort of affected look. Do you know what I mean? I've decided about the old, do you know what I mean? It's one of my sayings, isn't it? So I'm not going to discard it, and I'm certainly not going to let it go. So if you hear me saying, do you know what I mean today, then we'll celebrate that, shall we, guys? Why not? Get a little bit more on. And you know, this stuff, it is pretty cheap, isn't it, guys? So and what we're looking for here, said it's going to erase lines, didn't it? And yeah, okay. A little bit more on using spongy. Now then, beautiful ones, this side brush, this side dry beauty blend, and we'll try with a wet one if you want. Can you see the difference? I'll come through, and I'll actually zoom in as well with the camera once I'm editing. Can you see that there? You can see the concealer, can't you? Whereas on this side, it looks much more natural, doesn't it? It's just basically, apart from that area there where I've missed it totally, but that's just me, isn't it, guys, and my blending techniques. The only issue I'd have with where is the concealer? And you can certainly see that this side of my under eye looks far more airbrushed, doesn't it? Far more natural, far flawless and undetectable, really. Yet it has covered all of the darkness. If you have quite severe darkness, I wouldn't use this. I'd go in with something far more full coverage, because this is just, it's an under eye brightness. So I guess you could use it in conjunction with something like a fuller coverage concealer. There's nothing stopping you. Play around, guys. How many times do I say that on a daily basis? Play around with it. Although, yeah, I was just saying, my biggest criticism, one of my biggest criticisms of this concealer is the shade range. There's not that many. There's only 10, and this one is slightly too yellow. Had I got one which was more cooler or more pink in toned, it would have just vanished by now. So, and it wouldn't. I think it's standing out a little bit like a Belisha beacon, or making me look like a panda bear at the minute. Although, yeah, no, I'm far preferring the side that I applied with the sponge. I'll go and remove that layer, and then I'll go and soak this too, and then we'll try the wet, shall we? Why not? That's what we're here for today, guys. And then I'll put a strip down. I'll do what she does in the advert. She puts a strip down her nose. The chap covers a spot as well, and then the under eye, but we've just done the under eye bit. And then I thought perhaps we could try mixing it with primer. Why not? Okay, guys, go and get yourself a jug or a tap or a bowl or anything. A tap? Why did I say a tap? You need a tap, don't you, to get the water out? Can you see my beauty blenders floating in there? And all I'll do is I'll just give that a couple of squeezes so there's enough water in that. Now, it doesn't have to be soaking wet, though, but this is a silicone-based concealer, so we can safely use it with water, and we'll know that it's compatible. Well, it's not really compatible with water. Silicones and water repel each other, although in makeup we can get phenomenal results by incorporating water with silicone-based foundation, silicone-based concealers. Why is man waffling? Man needs to stop waffling. Pronto, man's stopping now, okay? Man's beard is trying to smother man again. So yeah, I need to wash it, and I'll show you, I'll do a tutorial on how to wash brushes, how to wash sponges, so on and so forth. Where's the bloody concealer gone? It's in my hand the whole time. I do that sort of thing constantly. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, where are my glasses? On top of your head, man. Where's my wallet? It's in your hand, man. Where's the Maybelline New York concealer? It's in your hand, man. Everything's in your hand. Right, guys. So now then, I'll just put another layer of this on the back of my hand. And the reason I always do it on the back of my hand is because it's you can buff it in, and we would do that with foundation. So I'll put a little bit more and get all of that on there, shall we? And yes, you do use a little bit more concealer, but I was just saying, wasn't I, the reason I like to buff concealer into the skin, and we do it with foundation, so why shouldn't we do it with concealer, is that it gives you a much more natural finish. As I've just said, granted, you are using a lot more concealer, but I think you'll find the results are well worth it in the end. So just go into the corner of your eye with a point and just make sure the concealer is actually on the point, and stab it in. And you can see I'm tapping, pressing it into my skin. And I do prefer this technique. I do. because you can diffuse when you come on out. There, and because we've wet the brush, we've wet the sponge, it's pushing the concealer away from it, so it's putting down more product, and that probably doesn't make sense to some of you out there, but I can't try and describe it basically, but using that dry, it's going to absorb up loads and loads and loads of the concealer, so you're putting down a very, very small amount. By wetting it, you're in effect putting a barrier between the concealer and the sponge, so you're putting a little bit more product down, so that's why I've got a little bit more coverage on my face. Now, can you see the difference now? Hang on, over there, get my brush again so I can hold it up to my face. Do that pointless thing I did before. I just held it there for no reason, no apparent reason at all, really. I'm sure it makes sense to me somewhere in the back of my mind, but so I will hold my brush there now just so you can compare. Can you see that this side has definitely started to work oxide? I've had it on about the clocks over there now. I keep moving my clock just because I'm trying to get my flat ready for Christmas. By the way, have you done your Christmas shopping, beautiful ones? I haven't even started mine yet. What are you getting people this year? I don't know what I'm going to buy my mum, my dad, my sister, my brother. My brother bought me, because my brother lives in Dubai, and he bought me a beautiful lamp from one of the souks out there, and I'll show you it in a different tutorial if that's okay. I might do a what I got for Christmas tutorial, but shall I stop talking about Christmas presents and things I'm going to be getting this year, stuff I've bought for other people, and talk about this one, which is the whole point behind today's tutorial? I'll do that. Apologies, I went off on a tangent, and I was saying about this side that it's oxidized about 5. I've had that on for about 10 minutes now, and that's plenty of time for anything to oxidize. And what oxidation will do is it just darkens foundations, concealer, anything that you expose to the air will darken slightly. So it's basically the whole process between, when you bite into an apple and it starts to turn brown. That's partly oxidation and partly something else called the Maillard reaction. Although you don't need to know that, really, do you? No, you don't. But so that side's now basically adjusted totally to my skin tone, isn't it? But this side I've only put on about 3 minutes ago, so I'll give that a little bit longer. But I think that the results using a damp sponge are phenomenal. It looks far more natural, and I did put quite a bit on though, didn't I? So not as much as I put on that side. And if you want more coverage, there's nothing stopping you from going in with another layer, is there? It probably wouldn't work on individual spots, but then again, this is just an under eye brightener. You can use the soak sponge technique with any sort of concealers. You probably wouldn't be able to cover individual spots with the sponge technique because it's going to lay down too much product over a more larger area, basically, is what I'm trying to say. So if you want to pinpoint conceal, go in with a fine brush and, pinpoint it. Just make sure you blend your edges around, because nothing's more obvious than concealing, which is just in a big blob on your face, is it? Do you know what I mean? Right. So let's just imagine, shall we, for a second, that I had really dark under eye circles, which I don't, granted, but should we just say that that's one claim sorted? I think that's it's airbrush them away, isn't it? Any shadows which are under, and because this is a really, really light reflective formulation, it's bouncing light away as opposed to drawing the eye to dark shadows and making them look worse. It's bouncing it away, so it's deflecting your attention away from the darkness under eyes. If you have very, very dark eyes, as I said before, go in with a fuller coverage concealer. There's nothing else you can do about those, sadly. I have done a tutorial on how to not permanently but semi-permanently get rid of dark under eye bag, those dark circles under your eyes, and that's just by mixing titanium dioxide, which is a safe ingredient that's used in eyeshadows and so on, so you can use it safely around your eyes. Mix that with a little bit of water, apply it under your eyes or any areas which are dark around the eye area, and leave that overnight, and by the morning you'll notice a big difference. Just one application of that can make a vast difference, and I'll try and remember that now. That moustache again is trying to strangle me. Stop it, moustache, please. It's not going to answer me because it's not live, but if I remember, I'll link it up there. I'll put it into the description. I'll find a way of getting it to you, beautiful ones, anyway, without having to scroll through the thousands and thousands and thousands of videos which are on my channel. Possibly around 330 or something at the minute, but so that's claim 1 sorted and met, and I'm quite pleased with that, really. Yeah. Now then, claim 2, I don't have any spots, and I haven't had any spots for quite a long time, thankfully. But can you see that cut? I did that yesterday when I was shaving, so I'll just see if that can cover that, shall we? And we'll just pretend that that's a zit, shall we? And this time I'll just apply it straight from the applicator. And this applicator's got microban in it, which is a form of plastic, but it has a natural antibacterial property, so you don't, and you're not supposed to wash that, guys. So it's supposed to self-clean itself or self-sterilize itself, but And this time I'll just go straight in onto him. Colour's way off, isn't it, beautiful ones? Let's face it, but let's imagine it does suit my skin. Now, as I said before, the thing with concealers is to leave them for a minute or a minute to 2 minutes, or as long as you possibly can. Don't leave it for too long though, because it will start to dry down and you might have the job manipulating it. But while it's still quite wet, I'd say a minute. Yeah, give it a minute, because you know that gives you enough time for it to dry down and start to oxidize too. And you can also, it's not so dry that you can't actually move it around. Does that make sense? Hope so. So how long has that been? About, I'd say it's nearly a minute, wouldn't you guys? So go in with your concealer brush and just blend your edges away. You could use your finger to do this, guys. You absolutely could. In fact, I think I'd prefer to use my fingers. So can you see what I'm doing there? Is I'm diffusing around the edges of the concealer, so it's blending in with my skin, although the thing I'm trying to cover is now covered, isn't it? And that has totally disappeared, isn't it? Okay, so that's claim 2 living up to, isn't it? Brilliant. Okay, I'm starting to fall for this one quite big time. Do you know what I mean? What things don't I fall for though, guys, eh? Yeah, no, I didn't think it would cover that. I really didn't. So again, though, guys, if you have quite a large or prominent area of acne, which is really, really difficult to conceal, this wouldn't work for you. It's too shiny, it's too oily. It's not oily at all, it's silicone based, but it's too glowing. I would certainly say, beautiful ones, that if you have quite a large area of pronounced acne on your face, this wouldn't work for you. The coverage, it's just not full enough, basically. So if you're trying to cover acne, look for something with salicylic acid in it too, because that will help to treat the spots at the same time as covering them. Big tip there for today. But yeah, coming for a bit of a close-up. It's worked, isn't it, beautiful ones? I'm quite surprised by this stuff. Again, the shade, it's just slightly too yellow for my skin tone, but that could easily be fixed by going out, me going out and buying the proper shade, couldn't it? Or wouldn't it? Now then, guys, the next scene in the advert, which I'm tearing to pieces here, well, I'm not really, I'm conceding with most of the claims they make. A lady puts a strip down her nose. Now, I don't know why she does that. It's not a highlighter, is it? It's a concealer. And yes, you can use concealers to contour and highlight with. In fact, I've done a whole video on that too. And I'll link that into the description. But you can see this is starting to get quite slippery. If that ever happens, just go in with a damp J cloth. Just give that a quick wipe. Taking care to avoid the sponge area, because although it wouldn't hurt, you know, it's got microban in it, so it's inherently antibacterial. I was talking about the strip down this girl's nose. I just think what they're doing there is they're pushing the claims a little bit too far for credulity. So let's try that though, shall we? To see whether it brings my nose, suddenly makes my nose look razor thin, or can you put that left? Yeah, it's coming up now. That's way too much to put down this old schnufter, and I don't like to bring that highlighter all the way down to the end of my nose. All I would do is, if I was going to highlight, is the bridge of my nose, possibly even between my eyebrows. And if you want to feminize your face, that's a good thing to do as well, to imagine a triangle here between your eyebrows and the top point, somewhere between the middle of your forehead, and just lighten that area up, and that will make your face look more feminine. But I'm a man, and I don't want to look feminine, so I'll put some of that one down there. Shall I go down to, I may as well put it on as she does in the advert, mayn't I? That's the whole point behind it. And she just goes wallop. Do you know what I mean? I think we're in a skateboard park or somewhere like that. I'm not too sure. I've never seen a fascination with skateboarding. Do any of you guys out there skateboard? My nephew, Frederick, he skateboards all. I think he's at tournament level or something like that. I'm not too sure, really. Hey, we're looking like adamant now, aren't we, guys? Stand and deliver your money or your life. Right, so again, it's the colour, isn't it? It's just way too yellow for my Celtic chops. But while that's cooking, I'm gonna have a quick slurp of tea. I'll edit this bit out because you don't want to see me slurping, do you? And I do slurp as well, so can't help it, beautiful ones, can't. Right. I guess it's making my nose look a little bit more button-like, isn't it? I've just blended in the area between my eyebrows, but I've left the strip down my nose just so you guys can see it quite clearly. And because it is a brightener, it will lighten up the the prominent areas on your face, i.e. the bridge of my, or the whole length of my schnufter, which is quite big. Let's face facts, guys. I mean, I'm not trying to kid anyone here. And all I'm going to do there is just finger blend those edges away, just so you have a more natural finish on your old choppies. Right, let's just clean those fingers, shall we? And just a little tip I'll give you guys out there, if you want a more upturned button nose, I think the expression is, don't go further than the tip of your nose. Certainly don't come down here, because that will give the optical illusion that your nose is slightly lifted. So what I'm going to do is just to remove some of that concealer off the very tip of my nose. And I've taken too much off, haven't I? Right, just let that dry just for a second, because my J-cloth is quite wet. If that happens, just come down with your finger and then go over again with your J-cloth. But this is just an experiment today, isn't it? And that will give you the illusion of having a very, very slightly upturned nose. And I don't know why people want to have upturned noses. Some people do though, don't they, guys? So, that's what today's all about too, is, teaching you guys how to make the best of what we've been given. And in my case, I wasn't given a lot, guys. So, I do need to work on it quite a lot, quite substantially. So, right. Yeah. I am still pretty perplexed as to why the girl puts a strip of this down her nose. It could, they also claim that it covers texture as well, and that could be why, although they do feature that a little bit later on in the advert. It's only about 10 seconds long. Anybody would think it was like War and Peace or Ben-Hur or something like that, wouldn't you? But it's only about 10. Well, my nose looks quite sharp now, doesn't it? Quite, yeah, okay. Talking about texture, wasn't I? Yeah, they then a little bit later on in the advert, she put some, I think it's around this area or something on her face anyway. And so I don't think they're talking about texture on the nose, although I haven't painted that in very well, have I? Yeah, you can see how very slightly yellow this concealer is. If I'd have chosen a more cooler one, this would have just disappeared into my skin utterly. It's quite a nice product, actually. I'm quite impressed with it. Although, again, the colour's just way off, and I just wish that they would expand the shade range. So L'Oreal owns Maybelline New York, so if you're listening, please do add maybe another 10 shades to the range and be slightly more inclusive, please. They won't listen to me, though. No one ever does, do you know what I mean? And so my major sticking point with the advert, not necessarily the concealer itself, but just the advert for the concealer, is the fact that she puts and why does she do that? Why? It just escapes me. The whole point behind today's tutorial was the fact that, my deep sea trench up on my forehead, and that's not a scar, it's skin, it's sun damage basically from, you see how I do that, or I keep raising that old eyebrow, and I do that a lot, guys, because I'm obviously stunned and shocked quite a lot, and that's my shock face. It bunches all my skin up and scrunches it all together, and over time it has just developed into quite a deep furrow is the word. And seeing as this one seems to do everything, including the washing up, and it can mow your lawn too, I thought perhaps we could try it on the trench just to see if it will make it disappear. I doubt it very, very much though, but that will be our next part of the experiment. So let's just get some more of him out of the, it does take some work though to get it out, do you know what I mean? Got to twist and twist and twist, and here it comes. Right, okay, let's get another layer of him on there. Can you see that? Glistening. Are you all ready for Christmas, beautiful ones? Hope so. Let's just get that onto my brush. And, you probably don't, yeah, you can see it there, can't you? It sort of runs at almost a 45-degree angle to across my forehead. And what I'll do is I'll just pop a line down there. And if this can make this disappear, which it won't, I know it won't, but I might even try the deep lines on my forehead as well. And what I should aim to do is to put the concealer just automatically below where the shadows are. Do you know what I mean? Just so it tricks the eye into, it pushes the eye away from the dark shadows, which is all wrinkles are really. It's basically, it's just shadows. There's obviously something physical. There's a physical dip there, isn't there? But what you're seeing is the shadow. You're not actually seeing wrinkles themselves. So again, we'll leave that for a few minutes just to bed in, shall we? Whilst I remove, and I'm very, very anal about stuff on my hands, always have been. one of my many charms, and I don't have many. I do get that, guys. No, I have to sort this lighting situation out. It's getting to ridiculous levels now, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? You're there, guys. Try and remember that, please, man. Okay, trying. Tapping. I always do that one at my... Okay, don't need to know why I'm tapping. Right, beautiful ones. That's been on for just over a minute now, and it's will have had enough time to have started to dry. So all I'm going to do is just finger blend that in. And wow, it's totally disappeared, hasn't it, guys? Not. You can see though how glowing this stuff is. Can you see between my eyebrows the light there, where it's bounced, the light's reflecting off it, isn't it? Giving my skin a very, very slight satiny sort of look. And we'll play around with this in a minute. I'll mix it with some primer and slap it all over my old chops to see how it holds up to. See if we can basically make a skin tint out of it, shall we? But has that minimised that? Coming for an extreme close up. Get your buckets ready, guys, in case you start being sick. Eyebrows are covered in makeup now, aren't they? Occupational hazard. Oh, right. No, again, if I got the shade right, then perhaps we'd be more successful than we are at the minute. But so no, that's a fail for me because it hasn't hid that at all, has it? No, it hasn't. Sorry, Maybelline. Should we now mix it together and then we ought to close, really, because I don't want to keep you beautiful ones any longer than is strictly necessary today. Right, beautiful ones. Now you guys out there have a choice of which primer I can use. I'm going to use with it to mix it. We can either use the Blur Stick primer, which is going to be a nightmare to mix with the concealer because it is a solid. It's almost like a deodorant. No, and I have reviewed that as well, and I'll link that. There's going to be so much linkage into the old description, isn't there? So I'll discount that one if that's okay. And then the toss-up now is between the Pore Blur primer and the IRL primer. I think I might go with the Pore Blur if that's okay with you, beautiful ones. And we even have a choice of brushes to apply with. We can either use this is the first foundation brush I ever bought, and that's a double-ended. This is a Superdrug's own, something like £7, and there's a concealer brush and a foundation brush on that end. Or we could use my paddle brush, the one I got from Wilko's. That was £3.50. I don't see the point in spending out loads and loads of money on brushes, guys. I obviously invest in good quality ones, but you don't have to spend a fortune on them, is what I'm trying to say. So we've eliminated most of our choices and we've come down to the Pore Blur primer and my paddle brush, haven't we? And what I'll do first of all, beautiful ones, is start this bit again because when making a tint from a concealer and a primer, do try and match their composition. So if it's a silicone-based primer, it will work very, very well with a silicone-based concealer. So let's get a good dollop of this, and we'll need quite a bit of this to make a tint which is going to be obvious, or it's going to be able to perfect my skin, although again I don't want anyone to be able to see it on my skin, if that makes sense. So undetectable again is one of my biggest requirement from any form of maquillage or makeup. And so I'll go in with a dollop of primer, and this is a lovely primer. In fact, I just use that as a skin perfector. That I've used probably around the same ratio, so 1 to 1 there, guys. Can't get the lid on it. I have now, so right. What's man going to do with that now, eh? Man's going to transfer that onto other finger and then just apply it to that walloping load of foundation we have on other hand. Right, let's get the show on the road, shall we, beautiful ones? Why not? Are you there? Yeah, there, aren't you? So, guys, that's the concealer and that's the primer and that dollop there. And all, oh, sorry, my moustache is driving me up the wall. I put conditioner on it this morning, and I've got some beard oil as well. Perhaps I ought to use that, some beard shape or something. So all I'll do is just blend. Get the flat of your brush and just mix those two together. And if first of all you get some resistance, then just keep blending until the two have united. Got quite high hopes for this mixture though, guys. This product went viral, didn't it? And I think it still is viral, but and I'll start in the centre. I just put my finger up to you guys like that. It was that finger as opposed to that. Oh. Right, okay. Stop, man, stop, please, before you get yourself into trouble. Stopping now, right. A little bit more on, starting in the central parts of your face because that's where we get most of our texture. Work reasonably quickly, guys. I mean, prep your skin however you normally would do. I don't prep my skin when I'm doing tutorials for you guys out there because I want you to see how my looks or my inventions or my methods look on virgin skin. And we all have different skin as well, don't we? So I've got very slightly oily to combination skin, which tends to be a little bit drier in the winter, a little bit more oilier in the summer. So Okay, I'm really liking the way this feels on the skin. It's gliding on. I did find the concealer slightly, I'm going to say slightly drying there, slightly pulling, but now I've mixed it with the silicone-based primer. That's just gliding onto my skin. So bring it down onto your neck for uniformity. Put a little bit more on, shall we, guys? Can you see how that has just made my skin look as near as perfect as damn it? And keep blending, guys. Just don't stop blending until, you know, you've got to where you want to be. If you feel like you've blended enough, keep on blending. That's my biggest tip for the day. And this concealer actually has skincare benefits too. It's got goji berry and hyaluronic acid. And what hasn't got hyaluronic acid in it today? I mean, washing up liquid seems to have hyaluronic acid in it today, doesn't it? So, right. Just work that around the old eyes. Into the beard too, and I'll clean my moustache and my eyebrows up in a minute to show you the finished result, guys. I think we need to talk about this finish on my skin though, because I'm loving the way it's sort of slightly mattified my skin. It's put that over there in my jug for washing later. Right. And to clean up my eyebrows and my moustache, all I do is put my finger into a damp, clean J cloth, because you don't want baked beans all over your face, do you guys? Or tomato juice. And then just, you know, run it. And I'm applying quite a bit of pressure here, guys, because the combination of the silicone and the concealer together have really bonded this to my skin now. And that would last, wow, that feels like a baby's bottom. The combination of the concealer and the silicone-based primer will make this last all day. And it will, because we're using silicones twice, not just once, we're using them twice. We're giving our skin a double whammy of matteness too, although very natural looking matteness. I am really pleased with that result. Could I wear it out? Possibly not, no. I don't like to look like I've got any, in fact I don't wear makeup on a daily basis anyway. Possibly to a special event, or I just don't, do you know what I mean? I'm not one of those men that likes to. Although I'm doing these and showing you my techniques just so, you know, you can feel free to do. I am so pleased with these results, guys. I mean, look, can you see this area here? Again, coming for an extreme close-up. The bucket's ready again, guys. It's given my skin that lit from within, sort of almost velvety but satiny at the same time. So velvet meets satin skin. Anyone want velvet satiny skin? I certainly do. Who doesn't? Do you know what I mean? You can see that area there, can't you? When I smile, it's just giving my skin a very slight lit from within look, which is the reverse from to looking too matte, which would make you look unnatural and very flat. And that's simply because we've blended the silicone-based primer with the instant age eraser. So big thumbs up from me to this technique. Although the still perplexed about why she put a strip down her nose. I'm going to have to write to Maybelline to find exactly why they did that, but that's my issue. And I'll let you know, shall I, if I hear back from them. I doubt if I will ever hear back from them, but yeah, I'm certainly very pleased. So again, we've made a new product out of 2 existing products, and your results will be different from mine, because the primer you use will be different, the brush you use will be different. Just tailor it to your own skin, have fun with it, play around with it, because that's what makeup's all about at the end of the day. Don't take it too seriously, guys. And if you make a mistake, you can start again. That's the beauty behind it. Nothing's permanent, really, is it? But yeah, no, I'm pretty impressed with this video. Was very unplanned. I obviously decided to re-review the Instant Age Rewind concealer thing from Maybelline. This is in shade 07 Sand. Although I didn't plan to, you know, to pick the advert to pieces, which we've done, in fact, haven't we? And I'd say it's lived up to at least 2 or 3 of the grandiose claims that they made. It certainly lit my under eye area. It certainly, what was the other claims? The texture I'm not too sure about, although now I've blended it with the primer, it certainly has sorted out any texture on my skin, hasn't it? And the spots as well, that was the 3rd claim, wasn't it? I mean, I was going to say, I guess that the combination of the concealer and the primer have covered that as well. But again, do you know what I mean? If you've got heavy areas of bad acne, it certainly wouldn't cover them. So sorry about that, beautiful ones. And I know how awful acne can be, because I've had acne myself. I've got quite a few friends who have had awful acne before. do try and get a concealer that has salicylic acid in it, because that will help to sterilize the skin. It's an antibacterial agent, as well as being what's the word? Keratolytic. Basically that means that just breaks up the bonds which hold dead skin cells together, thus unplugging dead skin cells. So that's it for today, guys, and we have had a very close play around with the Maybelline anti-age eraser, haven't we? Thumbs up from me. Why not? £9, £9.99, £10. You know what I mean. And I've used quite a lot of that though today. That came up to about there. I think it just came up just to below the barcode. So I've used all of that today. But again, we have used it a lot though today, haven't we, guys? If any of you beautiful ones, and I'm sure there must be some of you out there have tried, and I know Susie's definitely tried this, because the video that went viral, she's had over 1 million views of her putting this under her eyes. That's a great video. I'll try and remember to link that into, it's a short actually, but I'll try and remember to link that. If any of you out there have tried this, please let me know how you found it, how you got on with it, because our findings will be totally different, which again is one of the unique things about makeup or cosmetics, isn't it? It's all subjective. So if you beautiful ones enjoyed today's tutorial, found it useful in any way, shape or form at all, please consider giving this video a thumbs up. Similarly, do consider subscribing, hit the notifications button to also you're notified each time I release new videos. And all that remains is for me to wish you beautiful ones a gorgeous Monday. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you all very, very soon. And do remember, I love you all very, very much. Take care.